Shalom, shalom. I hope you all are doing well. I'm blessed and I'm back again with a quick video. Well, family, I usually don't cover news, but I might as well go ahead and do it today. There's a lot going on and constant reports of evil. Many people are wondering what's going on, and they're having a hard time making it all make sense. The average person is having difficulties putting this all together as it aligns with Scripture. But I assure you, we're living in the end times. You see, what's happening is this truth is becoming more clear. The awakening of Israel is shaking the kingdom of darkness. But just as prophecy foretold, as the light rises, so does the deception. One of the greatest end-time strategies used by the enemy is not guns or bombs. It's manipulation of the mind. What we are witnessing today is not just social unrest or political drama. It's what the world calls PSYOPs, or psychological operations. Intentional campaigns designed to influence and control perception, emotions, and the behavior of the masses. These operations use fear, confusion, staged events, crisis actors, media narratives, and emotional triggers to keep people distracted from spiritual truth. While many see the chaos and call it news, those with eyes to see recognize it as prophecy unfolding. Let's take a look into the scriptures. Ephesians 4:14 reads, "That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive." This verse warns us not to be as children, tossed to and fro, carried about with every wind of doctrine and the cunning craftiness of men. This verse isn't just about religion, it's about deception in all forms. PSYOPs, psychological operations, are the perfect fulfillment of this scripture. They are designed to toss the people of Yah back and forth emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. The news floods you with fear. Social media keeps you chasing drama. Political movements, they ask for your loyalty while offering no salvation. It's all a distraction from the awakening that's happening among the true remnant. This isn't random, family. It's intentional warfare, spiritual warfare, cloaked in media and information. But the Most High warned us in Matthew 24:24. It reads, "For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and great wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect." This tells us that the great signs and wonders will be so powerful that even the elect could be deceived. The deception would be so convincing, so well planned, that if you're not spiritually grounded, you'll fall for the performance. We are now watching that performance play out on a global stage. From the strange alliances between political leaders, to the rise of AI, to the engineered racial conflict, and the non-stop news cycles, this is the dragon's last attempt to wear out the saints and stop the regathering of Yahuwah's people. Psychological operations are Satan's tool to keep your eyes on the world instead of the word. The enemy knows that if Israel remembers who they are and returns to the covenant, the kingdom of this world will fall. So what does he do? He floods the atmosphere with lies, distractions, and emotionally charged events. He uses every form of media to bombard you with noise so that you'll never sit still long enough to hear the voice of Yah. This is why 2 Thessalonians 2 warns that in the last days, those who refuse to love the truth will be handed over to a strong delusion, believing lies instead of receiving salvation. The psychological operations play a huge part in the strong delusion, and it's working on many. From the beginning in the Garden of Eden, the enemy didn't need a weapon. he used a lie. That's how he conquered Adam and Eve, not with force, but with suggestion. That same serpent is still whispering today, but this time through screens, tweets, leaders, influencers, and experts. Revelations 12:9 tells us that the dragon deceives the whole world. He doesn't need truth. He just needs you to be so distracted that you can't see it or seek it. And so the people of Yah are waking up while the rest of the world is being put to sleep with noise and confusion. But we are not ignorant of Satan's devices, family. We know that this system is collapsing, and we know that all the smoke screens are meant to slow down the rising of the remnant. As I mentioned previously, all of this was prophesied long ago. The enemy knew that the moment Judah began to awaken, the sound of his roar would shake the foundations of the nations. This is why the distractions are increasing, the psychological operations are intensifying, and the world appears more chaotic by the day.
It's called PSYOPs. It's a form of propaganda. It's a tool that the military used to use to change the minds of people and shift the mindset of people, right? So examples of PSYOPs is pamphlets that we used to pass out. We used to airdrop into Iraq and to change the minds of the people and the heart of people against their government, or change it against Saddam, or change it against the dictator. It's a way to change the world mind psychologically, right? Without force. But if you change them psychologically, then it causes them to rise up against people, right?
Yes, family. PSYOPs is a very real tactic that the enemy is using on society, and you all are falling for it. One of the most dangerous effects of these end-time PSYOPs is how they're being used to make all of Judah look bad. The media doesn't want to just push distractions. They carefully craft narratives that target and slander the image of the true people of Yah. Every time Judah rises to speak truth, expose lies, or walk in boldness, the system responds with smear campaigns, misrepresentation, and emotional triggers designed to make us appear aggressive, unstable, or extreme. But this too was prophesied. Revelations 12 says that the dragon would make war with the remnant of the woman's seed. That war includes our image, our reputation, and our voice. They know who Judah is, but instead of acknowledging the awakening, they try to distort it through propaganda. But the roar of Judah cannot be silenced. We were scattered and slandered, but now we're standing, and the world is watching. We were scattered across the four corners of the earth, stripped of our names, our language, and our heritage. For generations they slandered us, calling us everything except who we truly are, the chosen of Yah. They built empires on our backs and lies on top of our identity. But now the awakening has begun. Judah is rising. We're standing in truth, returning to the covenant, and reclaiming what was stolen. And the world is watching, confused, afraid, and in denial, because prophecy is no longer just a story in an old book. It's unfolding before their very eyes.
So, an example of today's PSYOPs is the media, is people like Joel Reed, The View, Whoopi Goldberg, Joel Behar, and all those people on that show, on CNN, all these left-wing media outlets that's causing, spewing racial divide, that's spewing hatred, that fuels Black Lives Matter, that fuels Antifa, right? We have to understand that when you constantly say that a person is Hitler, a person is a threat to democracy, a person is the He's gonna put you back in chains. He's gonna reinvent things he's gonna put things back to where they were in the 40s and the 50s and Jim Crow, and he's gonna do all these different things. He's a puppet of Putin. When you spew that PSYOPs into people's minds, you begin to shift their psychological view of a person, and they view that person as the enemy of the state.
Many of you think this is all real, and it's just naturally happening. The left-wing media outlets, they play a major role in fueling racial division and stirring hatred, often under the disguise of progress and justice. So rather than seeking unity or truth, they amplify narratives that deepen emotional wounds and pit people against one another, especially when it comes to issues involving awakening or the true children of Israel. They don't just report news, they engineer reactions. By highlighting certain stories and burying others, they control perception and weaponize race to keep the masses distracted from the real battle, the spiritual awakening. This too is part of the PSYOP. It's not about left or right. It's about keeping Judah asleep and the world deceived. The media, whether subtle or loud, is a tool of confusion used to twist the truth, silence righteous voices, and paint a distorted picture of those rising in covenant.
And you don't see that you did. And you won't take responsibility that you did. But I'm telling you, the more you do psychological warfare on a person, on people, the people decide to take violence in their hands. That's a tool that we used in the military. Why do you think people turn on dictators? Why do you think people turn on their government in war times? It's because we use PSYOPs, right? So this is what it is. PSYOPs is a psychological warfare tool that we used in the military and that they're using today. And they're going to keep using it. We have to call it out. We have to tell people exactly what they're doing.
So we have a gentleman here explaining that they use PSYOPs in the military. But I want you to know something, family. We are not witnessing a cultural shift or a political crisis. We are in the midst of a deep spiritual war. And this war isn't fought with guns or swords. It's waged through deception, distraction, and division. It targets your mind, your faith, your identity, and your covenant with Yah. Ephesians 6:12 makes it very clear. It says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." That means that everything we're seeing, media manipulation, race wars, PSYOPs, and confusion, is not just happening in the physical, it's being fueled from the spiritual realm. The goal is to keep you blind, distracted, and out of alignment with Yah's will. But those who are awake know that this battle is real. We must be armored in truth, grounded in the Word, and set apart from this world system. This is not a time to be casual, it's a time to be consecrated. Because this war isn't just about survival, it's about the souls of the chosen people.
And how they messing people's minds up. And God forbid something ever happened to Donald Trump let's say something happened to him on Saturday. We're in a different America today. We're in a civil war today. You talking about violence? You haven't seen violence unless something happened to him. Yeah, no. That's not the world that you want. So stop spewing rhetoric like that. Stop spewing PSYOPs. I'm telling you now, Joel Reed, you guys are setting wars up. You're setting things up in place that you're not ready for. You're not ready for that. You're not ready for that kind of violence. So I'm telling you, stop spewing that stuff.
Did you see how he mentioned that we're in a civil war? A civil war is a conflict fought between people or factions within the same country or nation. Unlike a war between different countries, a civil war happens internally among citizens political groups, ethnic communities, or regions that are divided over power, beliefs, or control. Whether you realize it or not, we are already in a civil war. But it's not like the one from the history books. This war is silent, psychological, and spiritual. It's not North versus South or one nation against another. It's truth versus lies, light versus darkness, covenant versus confusion. We're in a time where families are divided, communities are being torn apart, and people are choosing sides. Not based on righteousness, but based on media-fed emotions, fear, and deception. This civil war is being fought in our schools, in our homes, in our minds, and more importantly, in the spirit. Judah is waking up, and the systems of this world are panicking. They are creating conflict to mask prophecy, stirring racial tensions to bury identity, and pushing fear to stop faith. But those who are grounded in Yah can see through it all. This civil war is proof that a kingdom is being shaken, and only what is built on truth will remain. This is psychological warfare. And the adversary knows that time is short, and he's desperate to keep you blind. But some of us have eyes to see, and we know. We know that this is prophetic. Yahushua warned us, when we begin to see these signs, we are to look up, for our redemption is near. Matthew 24:6 says, "And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." And then Matthew 24:4 says, "Take heed that no man deceive you." You see, while the world argues over elections, billionaires, and movements, Yah's remnant must remember the real war isn't between political parties. It's between light and darkness. Ephesians 6:12 tells us that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And then 2 Timothy 2:4. It says, "No man that wars entangles himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who had chosen him to be a soldier." These distractions, family, are meant to pull you back into Babylon, but you've been called out, so stay focused. Don't let this distract you from what's really important, and that's the awakening of the people. But you see, the enemy has a plan for our awakening. They manipulate emotions to keep you too tired to seek Yah. This is spiritual seduction, and it's increasing because your awakening is a threat. Ephesians 4:14 says that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind. You see, here Paul warns us not to be spiritually immature, easily swayed by every new teaching or political wind. The deception isn't always blatant. It comes through cunning craft and manipulation. This verse ties in perfectly with engineered distractions and spiritual warfare. This is exactly why we must stay rooted in truth. In Ephesians 4:14, we're warned not to remain as children, easily tossed to and fro, carried by every new doctrine, trend, or emotional wave. That's what we're seeing today. From the political chaos to the media-driven fear and confusion, it's all part of the adversary's plan to distract and destabilize the people of Yah. These distractions are not random. They are crafted through men and cunning craftiness. It's manipulation. It's deception. The purpose is to keep us blind, reactive, and spiritually immature. But if we're grounded in the Word, we won't be moved by every shift in the atmosphere. We'll discern the times and remain anchored in what's real. We can't get caught up in the noise. We should stay awake and stay focused, because deception is rising, but so is the remnant. What I would like to say in closing is stay alert and stay grounded in Yah's Word. The war now is not over land, identity, or even blood. It's a war over truth, a war over attention, a war over perception, and whoever controls the minds of the people controls their future. But those who endure unto the end shall be saved. As Yahushua said in Matthew 24:13, endurance is the key, not just enduring physical hardship, but enduring the mental and emotional battle of staying awake while the world sleeps. And make no mistake, one of the greatest strategies of this war is the way that the puppet masters twist the image of Judah. They use the media to make us look wild, unstable, violent, and confused, when in truth they are terrified of our awakening. They fear what Judah represents: prophecy in motion, identity restored, and righteous dominion returning. So they push the narrative to keep the world blind to who we really are. But we won't be defined by their lies. There's certainly wickedness in every nation of people, including the Israelites. But as the world has it today, to make one so-called black person look bad is to make us all look bad. Don't fall for the show. Don't be swayed by every new crisis. The puppets may dance, but the remnant walks in truth. Stay grounded, stay in covenant, and keep your eyes on Yah, not the noise. Thank you all for listening. May the Most High bless you and keep you safe in this hour. And remember Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13. He that endures unto the end shall be saved. And until my next video, family, shalom.